I hope everyone got their kids off to school this week, and I hope our kids in Mobile County have a wonderful school year. And with that, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Cherie, do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir. We have a lot of speakers today. Several people have signed up to speak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that's fine. I'll just remind speakers that when you come up to state your name and your address for us, please.
Thank you. And speak into the microphone, and you each have up to 5 minutes. So the first is H&H Business Services. Dr. Sharon. Yeah, she didn't put her name. Last name.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
My name is Dr. Sharon Ingram. I'm from HH Business Services, and we're at 851 I-65 Service Road, Suite 700 in Mobile, 36606. First, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity this morning. Myself and approximately, it's supposed to be 6 other store owners, I think they got the time mixed up because they're texting me now, trying to find the location. But with 5 minutes, one of the main reasons that we wanted to speak this morning was regarding the property tax issue. I think I spoke to you about that before, and they still having an issue with it. The property tax office is continually trying to get our small business owners, convenience stores, to keep paying excessive taxes for items that they feel like that they should be taxed for. For example, the coolers that's in the stores, those belong to Pepsi or Coca-Cola. The shelving belongs to like Little Debbie or some of the other chip distributors. Ice cream coolers or mostly from Blue Bunny or other places like that. The Hunt's Pizza, that equipment belongs to them. But when I submit the reports every month, and what they do, they go back and look at what's been done for the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and they go back and put it back on there stating that, well, this is what they've been paying, but they've been paying it wrong. So they have been taxed illegally for years for items that don't even belong to them. And they have a problem with that. Also regarding this, I think you all call it ad valorem. When you go and purchase, just say chairs and desks or whatever, Walmart, Home Depot, whatever, you on the receipt, it clearly tells you that they've paid taxes for it. But the property tax, once they put it in their store, they turn around and say, well, we want you to pay taxes on it again. They've already paid taxes on it, and we're still looking for the answer as to why do you have to pay taxes twice for the same chair you just bought at Walmart? So if they bring it in the store, they get taxed. If they leave it outside, they don't get taxed. So that doesn't make sense. Also, one of the main issues is that the store owners feel like that they're just overlooked. The service station, we have plenty, over 300 stores, and when they open up, they don't get a welcome letter. They don't get anything that says, hey, I'm your commissioner, I'm your city councilman, nothing. All they hear about is Airbus, 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 Airbus. And they feel like that all the tax money that they're having to spend to go to offset the county and the city giving Airbus all of these multi-million-dollar tax breaks, they get nothing. They can't even get police protection. They can't even get, no one to come out and deal with any issues. When I was here before, Commissioner Lookgood immediately handled a situation at 5600 Lot Road regarding this drainage. They came out the next morning and repaired it. When it rained a couple weeks ago, it flooded out again. And we're going back through the same thing. It belongs to the city, no, it belongs to Sims, no, it belongs to the state. So it still haven't been fixed again. And the last thing, regarding the EBT, the USDA seems to have targeted the inner city convenience stores, and they are, terminating their EBT retailer's license, and they call it trafficking. What they're looking at is that the EBT card has large amounts on it, or it's been used multiple times throughout the day. Well, most of the people that live in the community may not have transportation to get to Walmart or Publix or any other store, so they may send, the children, the husbands, husband's wife, whatever, to the store several times a day. And then they go in, they may make a large purchase. I did a test. I went to Walmart and Publix and did the exact same thing that they're saying that these store owners are doing. And I was told by the USDA that Walmart was too big to fail and that they could not track large purchases with Walmart. So the rules are the same across the board, but it's the stores inside of Mobile, what we say inner city stores, that seems to be getting targeted for the USDA to pull their retailer's license. And we just need you guys to help us stand with these store owners to let them know that, I mean, there'll be a food drought, a food desert, if there's no stores no stores that are there. 30 seconds. Okay. Basically, that's what I wanted to come and talk to you all about today. As I said, the store owners signed up to be here, so hopefully they'll get here before you end, so you can hear directly from them some of their own complaints. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are any of the other store owners who are signed up here today?
They're texting me now, the only way.
Oh, I'm not sure how you'd like to proceed. Do you want me to read their
I have a
names?
question. Ms. Ingram, have you had any conversation with the Revenue Commissioner?
Several.
And-
In the same thing, they're saying, especially about this ad valorem, about this has been on the books for all these years, doesn't make it right, but we just know there's no action has been taken. All we get is to call someone else, and no action has been taken.
Well, I don't know all the circumstances involved. You kind of gave an overview of it, but I would ask Mr. Hodge if you would touch base with the Revenue Commissioner about these concerns and see if there's anything that might need attention. I would appreciate it.
And on the personal property tax, there, the Revenue Commission has a lawyer. They could provide the legislation that requires a payment of personal property tax that is not extinguished just because of sales tax. And, I mean, it's not just convenience stores. Everybody, in my law office, I had to pay a tax on the chairs, whatever was there. That's any business that owns personal property. But there's a piece of legislation that requires that. And so at least you could be provided that and understand the basis for it and know that it's not something that's unique to convenience store owners. And the way to attack that is through reaching out to your legislative delegation. It's a state law, and it could only be changed by the state legislature, anything pertaining to the personal property tax. And I think on that USDA question, I think when we spoke on the phone, Dr. Ingram, I suggested that you reach out to Commissioner Carl's office, because again, that's a federal, if the application of USDA rules are happening, it's a federal issue, one that we really can't help with. And probably USDA has a civil rights division, and it has an Office of Inspector General. Those are both places where you can lodge complaints.
I guess I'll read the names of these other businesses.
And that's fine, and if, I don't have an issue if you guys don't, if they show up and they want to still have their voice heard, I don't have an issue with that.
So it's Fulton's Food Mart, M&S Food Stores, and Sims Package Stores, Food Market, Rami Altinki, and Les and Koksky.
Are any of those names read off here?
They're texting me now, I guess it's 11 o'clock, they're saying that they're en route.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll proceed with our meeting, and if they show up at the end, we'll give them an opportunity to be heard. Is that it, Cherie?
That was it.
Glenn?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, how are you?
Number one, approve the minutes of the regular meeting of July 20th, 2023. Number two, approve the list of claims. Number three, hold a conference, public hearing, so any citizen of the county shall be given an opportunity to be heard regarding the proposed use of funds under the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. Excuse me. Number four, approve a memorandum of understanding. Oh, sorry.
Should we
Go
go
ahead.
ahead?
Hold the
Do we
hearing
need to
today.
have that public hearing today? Is that what? Okay. All right, this public hearing is now in session. Anyone here for or against? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed.
Number four, approve a memorandum of understanding with the City of Mobile and the City of Pritchard regarding the fiscal year 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program and Mobile County to administer a grant as follows. Number five, approve submission of a joint application with the City of Mobile and the City of Pritchard to the Department of Justice for funding in the amount of $221,724 under the fiscal year 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program. Number six, hold a public hearing to receive citizens' comments regarding the proposed substantial amendments to the program year 2017, program year 2019, and program year 2023 action plans for the Community Development Block Grant and home programs. This information has been available to the public since July 5th, 2023. Number seven, adopt the substantial amendments to the program year 2017, program year 2019, and program year 2023 action plans for the Community Development Block Grant and programs following the comment period and public hearing. Number eight, approve a memorandum of understanding between Mobile County, the Mobile County Board of School Commissioners, and the Mobile County Sheriff's Department to provide public school security for Mobile County Sheriff's deputies at certain school locations with funding provided by the Mobile County Board of School Commissioners in the amount of $1,791,762 for the first year and $1,213,260.32 for the second and third years pending legal review. Number nine,
I have a question about number 8. So there's no memorandum of understanding attached here. Has it been done?
It has, it's been moving. I think Frank just walked outside, but we think that the latest iteration was yesterday. We haven't heard back from the school systems attorney, other than a board member that was approved. So right after the meeting, I'll give you the latest one that we have. But it's basically, that'll help you.
You know, when it says subject pending legal review, that means we won't, when we vote Monday, we won't see it again. And I need to see something before I can, I'm comfortable voting on this.
I'll give to you what we have today, and then that should be it, unless the school board has some, their attorney has some different comments.
In general, what's the concept?
There'll be 12 officers, sworn deputies that will work in the various schools. They'll be assigned to those schools per Sheriff Birch and Chief Cassidy every day for 12 months. Cost of the deputies, cost of the equipment and the like be paid for by the school board for these 12 full-time deputies assigned for security for the school system. They'll report, the deputies, however, will report and take their directive from the sheriff's department, and they'll be somewhat independent of the school system if they find a need to do something or do an investigation.
So you said 12 months?
They'll be allocated for 12 year-round. So even in the summertime, per Sheriff Birch, they'll still be learning, educating, and do everything they do. They generally won't be part of the sheriff's department's regular, I have the right word, Mr. Dewitt, patrol fleet or otherwise. They'll be assigned full-time to the schools.
And this is a 3-year,
3-year
Memorandum.
contract.
So,
The other question came up, Commissioner Ludgood, is if at the end of the contract term, I'm looking for Frank if he pops back in Frank Cassidy. If in a 3-year term, the school system, for whatever reason, didn't want to continue to fund this program, there was some question, what would become of those 12 deputies? At least the sheriff tells me that he would be able to integrate them back in his system based on attrition and other people retirement and the like.
Okay, what about indemnity for acts of a deputy?
Right, we're talking about the school, the contract with the Mobile County Board of School Commissioners.
Yes.
I've told them 12 officers dedicated full-time, they'll report to you or to the sheriff or directive. It'd be 12 months. I'd also at the end of 3 years that they would, if the school system didn't continue with it, they'd be integrated back into the sheriff's department without any additional cost. That's what the sheriff told me. Commissioner Ludgo's getting ready to ask me about indemnity. If officer creates a problem, it'd be on us. That's the school board problem, it'd be on them.
So I still,
So I don't know if you need, that's where we are with Commissioner Ludgood. So the way it is intended to read, if a deputy does something, whatever he or she does, and it's the deputy's problem that caused the incident that gives rise to some type of claim or lawsuit, that would be on the sheriff's department. If there's some action or inaction by the school board, then it would be on them. It's hard to identify each potential problem that could occur.
So, no, I asked a question because the MOU was not, we didn't have one yet to look at. And so Commissioner Hudson and I were just asking about any particulars that could be shared about the contract.
And we're going to send them, after this meeting, the latest iteration, that I don't know, it's come back to me from the school board's attorney yet.
there'll be 12 deputies hired. They'll all work in a high school area. They'll control the feeder schools also into the high school. Their responsibilities will be violent crime. They will not do disciplinary actions. They won't do regular law enforcement as far as anything that deals with the students, unless it involves a threat to safety, a weapon or something like that. They're basically there for active shooters, parents that create a threat to school personnel or students with a gun. The regular SROs will still handle all the disciplinary issues. If there is, say, thefts in vehicles or something like that, if it's within a municipality, that municipality will still work those types of crimes. They're there for the safety of the campus. That's their purpose.
Okay, and all of that is spelled out in the MOU?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said they will not have any work responsibilities, their scope of work will not include anything other than security at the high schools and feeder
Yes,
schools?
they're complete, their entire shift will be at the school systems. So they will work primarily 3 schools a deputy. They'll work the high school, the elementary school, and the middle school that feeds them, and that will be their job. Now, during the summertime, will have some that work the summer school areas. If there's no school system or no need for the school, then it's in the contract that the sheriff has the right to reappropriate them however he sees fit. So we'll be able to put them into a regular patrol or regular crime duties during the summer months. But we are getting paid the full 1 year salary from the school board.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Number 9, consider designating December 1st each year in Mobile County as Mrs. Rosa Parks Day to commemorate her accomplishments. Number 10, approve appointment of the high school students to serve as members of the Mobile City County Youth Council until graduation to represent District 2 as follows.
Would you add drug education in the, because it's a drug education's city county youth council, drug education council.
Right?
Drug Education Council.
Yeah,
It's the parent organization.
Okay. Number 10, to be voted at the conference. Approve application for special events retail schedule for August 12th, 2023, alcohol license submitted by Eminence Promotion LLC for Southeastern Combat Championships.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, number 12 and number 13, we spoke with probate court this morning. In number 12, they actually have an actual figure, and they would rather use that than the estimated figure. So we're going to have to change the wording and use the actual figure of $120,295.18 rather than the $47,358.62, which was an estimated figure.
Wait, say that again. It was,
The
they
100
estimated 47, but it's actually,
120 was the invoice to the city.
120,000?
$120,295.18.
Okay.
I just wonder, Mark, how did you get, that's 3 times almost.
There are several items, Commissioner, that I could point to. The biggest one was the publication cost ended up being far greater than what we had originally stated in our estimates from previous experience. The city published both in the Call News and Lanyap. That included both the voters list that had to be run in both of those publications, which is obviously a larger expense than we had estimated, as well as the publication of the various legal notices and the legal descriptions of the areas that were annexed. Those were pretty expensive publication costs that probably were not fairly represented by that dollar figure that we initially put in. Also, I think the overtime expense that we incurred as a result of our employees having to serve in several of the polls all day to supplement the limited number of poll workers we could hire based on the way that annexation code is written. We could not just staff the polls with our regular poll workers at the same numbers we normally do. There's a limitation within the code itself as to how many workers we could hire. We ended up having to put more of our staff members in the polls to supplement that during the day. So we submitted this bill to the city yesterday, and we expect that they'll have that turned around. But it was right at $120,000 total cost of everything for the day.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And Commissioners, since number 13 includes the $4,945 in that total, we're going to eliminate agenda item number 13. Number 14, adopt a revised resolution authorizing joint purchasing agreements that include the town of Dauphin Island and the city of Pritchard with other municipalities. Resolution adopted in the Mobile County Commission, July 10, 2023 minutes, agenda item number 11, for purchasing off the county's annual bid. Number 15, approve reappointment and appointments of high school students to serve as members of the Mobile City County Youth Council until graduation to represent District 1 as follows. 16, approve reappointments and appointments of the Board of Trustees of Mobile Sports Authority to represent District 1 as follows. And number 17, to be voted at the conference. Approve District Attorney's Office to submit an application to the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs for Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant for funding in the amount of $150,000 with no local match for the grant period October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024 to assist prosecutors with rehabilitative programs to reduce recidivism in the youth population at the James T. Strickland Youth Center.
So moved.
Second?
Number 18, approve sponsorship agreement with Africantown Community Tech and Outreach in the amount of $1,500 from District 1 Commission funds for its Community Day event. Number 19, approve appropriation contract with Boys and Girls Club of South Alabama, Inc. in the amount of $5,000 from District 1 education funds for its Our City, Our Future telethon. Number 20, approve appropriation contract with Marching Cougars Band Booster Club in the amount of $10,000 from District 1 education funds for musical instruments, band uniforms, and operational expenses. 21, approve sponsorship agreement with P.L. Wilson Detachment Number 447 Marine Corps League in the amount of $2,500 From District 3, commission funds for its Veterans Helping Veterans Car Show event.
Marine Corps is usually spelled with a P and an S.
PSCORPS.
We'll correct that, Commissioner. Number 22, approve appropriation contract with Town of Mount Vernon in the amount of $45,000 from District 1 education funds for replacement of the roof at the Mount Vernon Public Library. Number 23, approve appropriation contract with Mowa Band of Choctaw Indians in the amount of $5,000 from District 1 education funds for its annual powwow event. Number 24, approve appropriation contract with Scarborough Model Middle School Parent Teachers Association in the amount of $30,000 from District 1 education funds for courtside logo chairs, carpool barricades, school uniforms, and student-teacher incentives at Scarborough Model Middle School. 25, approve sponsorship agreement with Mary G. Montgomery Quarterback Club in the amount of $1,000 from District 2 education funds for social media game week. 26, accept a return of funds in the amount of $12,900 and equipment from Mobile County Sheriff's Office Mounted Police and approve appropriation contract with the Mobile County Sheriff's Posse to disperse those same funds and equipment to the Mobile County Sheriff's Posse. 27, approve a 10-year lease between Mobile County Commission, Barodet Duval LLC, and the Mobile County Sheriff's Office for office space located at 1550 South Broad Street, Mobile, Alabama, which will be used for the Tactical Canine Intelligence Division and equipment storage for the sum of $6,697.97 per month and other costs associated with this lease. The lease will be effective August 15, 2023, and terminated on August 30, 2033, subject to final legal review.
I think that's supposed to be a 5-year lease instead of a 10-year lease.
That is correct. It changed. It's a 5-year lease, Commissioners. The lease payment hasn't changed. The latest discussion, the rate would, the costs would go up 1.5% per year for each of the term of the contract. At the end of the 5-year term, the county commission for the sheriff's department would have the right to re-up it for another 5 years if we so choose, by giving 180 days notice prior to the expiration at the end of the 5th year. That rate would go up by 10% if the commission chooses to do that. The building would be used for the purposes stated in here. The sheriff's department has their own funding source and will do the improvements to the building, but once they're done, it'll be up to the county to maintain the building for the term of the lease.
And how large is this building?
Roughly 10,000 square feet, mostly warehouse space. Tyler Martin's team checked on the building yesterday. It looks good. You know, we've got our normal insurance requirements, provide insurance on it. And then at the end of 5 years, they get to do it. We'll see where it goes.
Is this where the canine training will take place, or what all will happen there?
The K-9 will be housed there. There'll also be our special operations unit. There's about 24 members. They'll all be stationed there. There'll be office space, bullpen for the office space for the supervisors, bullpen for the deputies. With the back warehouse space, a lot of our tactical equipment, boats and stuff like that, since it's so close to I-10 and I-65, good thoroughfare, you know, wherever we need to go, that'll all be housed there. The training of the dogs kind of moves from place to place depending on what type of training they're doing. So training won't be done there, but they will be housed there. Their handlers will be housed there, all their equipment, along with SWAT, the waterborne units, and our special operations unit.
How many canines on average?
On average, I think it's 7.
Okay. Thank you.
So you said we're signing on to do maintenance of the building? Is this routine maintenance, or if the HVAC unit breaks down, who pays for that?
It's been a work in progress to get to this point, but if the HAC unit breaks down, it's up to us to fix it under the draft of the lease.
Typically, lessors pass on all of that as much as they can, but we're paying premium for this, premium dollar for
The
this.
lessor is trying to pass on as much as possible to the lessee, and we're working back on that. So that's why we don't have a final version. Hopefully, we can resolve those issues today and tomorrow, give you the final document, before the end of the day.
What sort of pending issues? I know we've done an evaluation of the building. Where does
The
it
building,
stand?
according to Ozzy, the building is solid. So there were items in the lease that talked about the payment of 2 months earnest, 2 months deposit. We have removed that, tried to push it back to make it just the lease payments. The rent was originally asked to go up at 2.5% per year, and with Commissioner Dewitt's involvement, it's now become 1.5% per year for 5 years. It was going to be a 10-year lease, we pushed it back to 5. But and it's what I call a triple net lease, where even the cost of the property ad valorem taxes be taxed to us too, which is roughly $5,000 a year. So it's not really ready to go. And I think the date should, talking to the Sheriff's Department, be moved to September 1st, 2023. So we don't have it straight by Monday. We'll ask the commission to hold it over to the next meeting.
What do we anticipate in the next 5 years as far as maintenance? Do we have the HVAC, is it still under warranty? Do we have, how old is it?
All I
What about
know
the
is
roof? What about any
The
other
roof-
structural
The roof
issues?
is almost finished with repair. The roof is the responsibility of the leaseor for the lease term.
Okay.
According to Ozzy, the building is structurally sound, so there's no known or obvious problems with the building. It's largely a warehouse, and they'll build out some office space. Frank Cassie calls it a bullpen type office space, mostly used for storage and their other. So we're trying to get through it. If it's not ready by Monday, we'll ask to be postponed.
Does the city of Mobile have any special ordinances about facilities that house animals?
That has come up yesterday, and I'm working on an answer for that too, because that could be something that's housed out there, so we've got to see if that.
In saying that, and I'll get you the answer, the majority of the canines stay with the handlers, so they won't be there on all-the-time basis. Generally, when we have to house them in-house is maybe if the handler goes on vacation or something like that, so,
About ammunition too.
yeah. Sir?
Ammunition, will that be stored there?
If there is, it'll be a very minor amount. There,
Aren't
no,
we
no
housing,
large.
aren't we housing canines inside the city limits now already? So I would think that would answer that question. I think we.
Yes.
on
The
Moffett Road
facilities
out
that we're
there.
using now is inside.
Just whatever the rules are, whether they gotta have running space, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, most of the dogs there go home with the handler.
And the part that we're building for the canine will more than meeting that there, these are very expensive animals. They'll have the ability to stay inside in the climate control, plus they'll have automatic outside to, an outside facility where they'll have room to move around and stuff like that. So, they're not gonna be in a small cage. The section that they have will be quite large.
With talking to Paul, I think the facility would be very similar to where we may house, we may have an extra dog, so to speak, that's a dual-purpose dog, or you have a dual-purpose handler who may have a bomb dog with him today, and tomorrow he may have an apprehension dog, or the next day he may have a drug dog. And so those dogs typically rotate out, but I don't think we're gonna vary far from the same kind of facility that we're already using. I think the best thing about this facility for the dogs' benefit is it's gonna be in a climate-controlled environment more so than.
It'll be better than what they have now, because the overhang, they basically are in kennels with an overhang outside. This one actually will have a door to where they'll be able to come inside and outside. They'll have facilities to be inside the air conditioning, and they'll be able to do that on their own, going in and out.
Just out of curiosity, how are these animals selected for training?
We actually go through professional companies that breed the dogs, pick the dogs, and they are certified when we go to get them as far as being trainable. Normally, we buy them as not necessarily small puppies, but not full-grown dogs yet. So we rely on the professional companies to tell us that these dogs are capable of doing what we want, and then we go into the training of the dog and the handler together after that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Did you have fun today, Frank, down here? Was this fun?
This was a blast. Glad to do it
Come
again.
visit more often.
They've been busy over there with him. He's got more items on the agenda too, Commissioner.
Oh. We may hear some more from
Number 28, approve change order number 6 to statement of work number 3 dated November 14, 2022 for contract with Alight Solutions LLC. The change order adds support for integration support and project manager time. This change order will increase the total cost by $112,308. Number 29, adopt a resolution authorizing request of the Revenue Commissioner's Office at Michael Square Shopping Center location to dispose of certain items. 30, approve change order number 4 with Hughes Plumbing and Utility Contractors for African Town Heritage House. This change order will decrease the contract by $470.57, which will be credited to the fund. The new contract amount is $1,408,120.47. Number 31, award bid to TAW Power Systems, Inc. for Government Plaza Emergency Generator Repairs Radiator for their total bid in the amount of $101,986.65. Number 32, approve request from the Alabama Cooperative Extension Services to waive fees for the John Archer Arena for a new 4-H Raptors Archery Club. No cost or preparation for the county for practices on the following dates. 33, approve Mobile County Commission letter of support of Mediacom grants application to Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs, Alabama Broadband Accessibility Fund for one broadband project in the county. 34, award bid to Carter's Contracting Services, Inc. for Dauphin Island Causeway Shoreline Restoration for their total low bid in the amount of $26,685,698.50, and authorize execution of contract documents. Cost of this project will be reimbursed by the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Number 35, approve Kenneth C. Qualham as nominee for the consideration in the selection of the Mobile County Board of Equalization member.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
And I just want to do this because it seems like the right thing to do. Tina, I know you've worked hard on that project. Would you like to come up and speak about item number 34 from, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to do that because it's such a fantastic project. And I know you've been working on it for years and to get it to where it's at today. And I just wanted to give you that opportunity if you wanted to talk about it, because I know you're as excited about it as I am. So if you don't mind.
Thank you, Commissioner. And this is a major milestone in this project. And for me, it is exactly what the funds from the Deepwater Horizon oil spill were meant to do. So these funds are from the Gulf Environment Benefit Fund, from the settlement funds. It's taken a lot of time and effort. It's a multi-agency collaboration. This is a grant from the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation with great support from the Governor's Office and the Department of Conservation, and also a very strong partnership that this has been driving us to develop with the Corps of Engineers and moving towards beneficial use of sediment that is dredged from the ship channel. So it's a major milestone. I appreciate y'all's support because we couldn't do it without that.
Thank you.
Number 36 is to be voted at the conference. Approve the letter of support for 2023 mega grant application to Alabama Department of Transportation for funding for the Interstate 10 Mobile River Bridge and Bayway project.
So moved.
Second.
Number 37, approve contract number 9 to Mobile County Park Initiative contract with Moffett and Nickel, Inc., dated June 23, 2023, to add additional construction engineering and inspection services for the Memories Fish Camp boat ramp improvements. Costs associated with this amendment will be paid for by the Gomesa bond funds. Number 38, approve contract with Airwind, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $15,000 for professional services for updating election materials, poll worker training videos, and public service announcements for probate court. Number 39, approve contract for law enforcement services with the City of Chickasaw for Mobile County Sheriff's Office to provide a patrol services within the City of Chickasaw, subject to final legal review.
Commissioner, you don't, and Frank may come up, you don't have a contract on that either because that has been changing daily. The short version is Chickasaw is short-staffed. They've asked the Mobile County Sheriff's Department to allow certain officers to patrol at certain times and be paid for by Chickasaw at a rate that the Sheriff's Department came up with yesterday, and it's all been transmitted to the mayor. But there's still some details that Frank needs to work out with the acting police chief of Chickasaw, but you can take it from there.
Yeah, what they're shorthanded with all the stuff that's going on with them in the release of their current chief. So what they're asking for is for us to cover the night shift. The contract that we've proposed will be for deputies to work there on overtime. We just don't have the staff to put people over there on regular time. The contract proposal was for them to pay the actual cost of the deputies. So I gave them an estimate, average of what a deputy would cost on overtime. And I talked with Dana Foster, and we included the FICA and the workman's comp and everything in it. So it'll be the total cost to the county. And so we won't be out any money, any funds.
So what's the number?
They're asking for 2 per day. They will cover the day shift, the first 12 hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The county then will come in at 6 p.m. and work the night shift to 6 a.m. They're asking for us for 4 months. They think that's how long it'll take them to get up to staff. If they get up to staff quicker, then, we'll be glad to remove ourselves early.
About $48 an hour when you factor everything overtime and.
That's about the average of overtime rate for the current deputies.
What's the bottom line?
Don't have a bottom line, because at the time I did the proposal, I wasn't sure how many hours they were asking for. But we are still, talking with them, and I'll provide them one, and I'll be glad to forward one to y'all of what we estimate the cost. But it's going to be 24 hours overtime a day.
Mayor told me this morning over $100,000 was the estimate if they followed through.
Is that factoring in vehicle usage and a fuel, or is that $48? Are we just being reimbursed for?
We're just being reimbursed for the overtime personnel.
Okay.
Yeah, the sheriff's department will take care of the fuel costs and everything out of our budget.
Is this primarily patrol services or enhanced policing or what?
Just patrol services.
Okay.
We already provide some services to Chickasaw and other small municipalities, correct? Like
Correct.
crime scene investigation.
Crime
and
scene,
stuff like
narcotics assistance, warrants, civil. I mean, we provide some services throughout the entire county. But as far as actually patrolling a municipality, we don't necessarily go and answer calls for service, which is what we're being asked to do on this contract.
And issuing municipal citations?
We're not going to enforce any type of municipal ordinances.
Okay. Well, I'm going to need a number before, this is obviously in District 1, I support Chickasaw getting what it needs, but I can't really see approving this without a number, some kind of number.
I
Have that by Monday?
Okay.
Number 40, approve sponsorship agreement with Miss Mobile Bay Organization in the amount of $1,000 from District 2 Education Funds for its Miss Mobile Bay and teen competition.
It's a scholarship program,
You want to include that in it?
please.
Okay. Number 41, approve sponsorship agreement with Little Rock AME Zion Furland Community Foundation in the amount of $1,000 from District 3 Education Funds for its community health fair and back-to-school fun day.
I would like to ask that we approve this today. I know they won't get the check, but their event it's a back-to-school event, and they're going to be giving out some book bags and things this Saturday, but if we could approve it, it may expedite them getting the money. It's just a miscommunication between myself and them, if we could.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Number 42, approve the right of entry agreement on county-owned conservation parcel adjacent to Lightning Point in the city of Beulah Battery to the Nature Conservancy to allow the Nature Conservancy to perform various land management activities and other related activities, including but limited to invasive species control, trash removal, biological monitoring, and other management actions for. Number 43, consider taking the following action on bids. Number 44, approve renewal of service agreement with Knox Pest Control for Centricon monitoring of subterranean termites as follows. 45, approve renewal of software maintenance agreement with Data Ventures in amount of $18,810 for Laserfish for the Sheriff's Office, Metro Jail. 46, approve renewal of hardware maintenance agreement with DLT Solutions LLC in the amount of $22,058.93 for Oracle Premier Support Services. 47, approve renewal of managed services with Highland Software, Inc. from current purchasing cooperative ONEA contract in the amount of $68,495 for operating managed services of OnBase for the county. 48, approve 36-month lease agreement with CPC Office Technology for one Canon image with basket wide format plotter from the current state of Alabama contract in the amount of $390.67 per month for the engineering department. 49, approve a resolution requesting an opinion from the Alabama State Attorney General's Office regarding Mobile County's ability and parameters to negotiate with a single bidder on public works construction contracts pending legal review.
So is there an ambiguity in the law? I mean, why are we asking for an Attorney General's opinion?
I think there is. You know, just with the cost of doing business today, and I'm the one who's really worked with Jay to try to get this opinion. And I really noticed too, in a lot of your projects, you'll have no or one bidder, and I don't think the county commission has ever really taken the action that the law says we can take, which is, in my opinion, and I'm not the Attorney General, I'm not even an attorney, believe it or not. But
You don't say.
so the issue has become, and there is some, what can you negotiate in the scope? Is there, I'm not, so when you start doing some value engineering, can you do that? If you have one bidder or less, the law says if you have no bidders or one bidder, that you can negotiate with that bidder. If you have no bidders, it's I think one or less, then you can actually, if the negotiations don't go well with that bidder, then you can actually solicit contractors to give you a price to do a job. And we're just trying to stay within the state bid law and not get in any trouble when it comes to building. If the engineer specs something one way and it comes back and says, KIPS is the word. I hate that word. Engineers know what a KIP is. I don't. So like say that, for example, if you were building if the engineer required you to come up with to build a 30 KIP bridge, and the contractor comes back, the one contractor, and says, well, I can reduce your payment by $5 million if you build a 14 KIP bridge, and in our opinion, our engineers don't think you need a 30 KIP. I know I'm going on about this, but we want to see just how far we can negotiate, if that makes sense, without changing the scope of the project.
It really, how far can we go?
Yeah.
From changing the scope? And the general law is you can negotiate with the lowest single bidder, as your commissioner well knows, but how far can you go without changing material terms? And we know what the law is, basically, that you can't change material
Right.
terms.
For example, if you wanted to change a type of a shrub that you're putting out front, can you do that? If the contractor says, well, I can put, I don't know, roses instead of,
Yeah, that's not material.
well,
Changing
I
a
mean, you
plant
get
would be a
into,
material change.
well, I mean, I
Right.
guess when you talk about material too, if your final product is the same structure, I'm just trying to find out how far we can negotiate. I guess my main question is, and this is just kind of put it in a nutshell for me, if we're going to negotiate with a contractor and he comes in to negotiate, can we just look at him and say, this really isn't much of a negotiation to me if you say, well, can you just lower your price without changing anything? And I think we need to hear from the Attorney General on how can they lower their price, I mean, is how I feel
Are
about
there
it.
any existing opinions or case law or anything that more specifically defines material changes?
Pretty much, yes, ma'am.
So that's all, it's already there?
And, You see a lot of answers on AG opinions about change orders. Was it foreseeable or not? And can you change it based on changing circumstances or things that were not readily ascertainable when the bid specs were prepared and when the bid was let? And so we see a rule of thumb, as you've heard, 10%. It's not absolute, but it's the general thumb. It's supposed to deal with foreseeability, changing conditions. In this instance, the cost is too high, and the Commissioner Dewitt thinks that maybe the Attorney General can give us more guidance on how far you can deviate from the bid because it's too expensive. Maybe we could change a bridge. And those are the subject matters, delete a bridge, or in this particular case, it relates to the golf course, and maybe there's a cheaper way to do some construction with different types of materials, and there's some opinion about what is material.
Does the new legislation, the new public works legislation in any way
Didn't deal with
address?
that, no. That just changed the
Threshold.
amount.
Just the threshold, didn't
Yes,
do
ma'am.
anything else?
Jay, let me,
Can I just say this? The reason I always react like this when we do Attorney General's opinions, because you literally taking your life into your own hands. And then when you do that, and what you get back is what you're stuck with, not only you, but every single county in the state. And so I've seen one Attorney General says it's okay to do that. 6 years later, another Attorney General says, oops, no, you shouldn't have done that. And then another, and they're all over the place. But because of what they are, they become advisory. They take on a life of their own. And I'm really afraid of them. And when I say afraid, I don't mean afraid. I mean,
you get what you're going to get.
yeah, and we could be creating a worse situation for ourselves than what we have now. So
Well,
I see
The only thing that I would ask Jay, and I think that I don't know how he will answer this question, or Christina or John, yes, there are some Attorney General's opinions out there, but I don't think they're clear. And if I'm wrong, then we'll remove the item. Jay, if you and your staff think they're not clear, then I would ask that we move forward. That's why I asked, because I think talking
Commissioner
to Jay
Luker kind of
and
hits the nail on the head. There are some opinions that are Jay's word outliers, but they're all very fact-specific.
As opposed to asking the general question, which may impact how business is done going forward, could this not be very specific to this particular project? Make it very specific so that it doesn't affect everything else.
Yeah.
Can we do
We
that?
can do that, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That even makes
Yeah.
the answer.
And the
to-
more facts you throw in, the more limited its application.
And I think there, a lot of the questions we're asking are facts-based for specific projects, but just going as a whole, I mean, I've bid 6 or 7 jobs in the last 3 months and maybe have awarded 2 of those jobs. And I've rebid some of those jobs, and I'm still not able to award those jobs. And I think I think we all are having the same issue, and that's why I wanted to know, what can we do? And I'll be honest with you, I would rather the whole state have to go by what the Attorney General says instead of me making the decision and me being in prison or somewhere else for making the wrong decision, you know?
I think the
so-
concern is, though, that it may make it that much more difficult by the time it's said and done to try to get anything done.
The essence of it is the word of materiality. So if we have a project and it bids X, and we're $1 million or whatever the number is over our budget, Commissioner Dewitt is asking, how far can we change the terms to fit into the budget?
And it's a material question
Our
of,
education tells us what material is, and he's asking us to drill down more and try to get a more defined answer from the Attorney General.
I mean, if you're doing a shingle roof, if the structure stays the same, can you put a metal roof on a building? Those kind of questions where I'm asking. If it doesn't change the engineering structure of the building, and the contractor says, I can put a metal roof or some other kind of roof instead of a shingle roof, but it's the same overall building, I want to know, can we do that? Or is our negotiating basically sitting in front of the contractor and going,
And so-
will you just lower your
that's
price?
legitimate. I think that's
The
legitimate.
school opinion is that might be a material change. It's a good example, shingles versus tin or metal. And so we, the conservative lawyer and the smart engineer here,
Scary engineer.
well, we think that's a material change. And just to use his example.
Yeah.
Because we're changing materials.
Yeah.
And the cost may differ depending on supply and everything else that I can think of and not think of right now. That's an example. And when we had a conversation with the lowest and only single bidder, for example, on a golf course, this gentleman said, well, you can change this and you can change that, and you can do this and you can do that. But that gets into material changes, so another contractor might have bid differently, or maybe he or she would have bid had he known it was tin roof or metal roof and not shingle roof. I'm just making up the materials, and that's where I think the law is respectfully pretty settled, notwithstanding some outlier AG opinions. But Commissioner Dewitt has been talking around at ACC at some levels and things, so I didn't want to do it unless we had some guidance to say, no, we don't need this.
So you feel like are you saying you feel like the law is sufficiently unsettled that you, as county attorney, cannot render an opinion that answers this question?
I know where I am on it, but for an opinion says otherwise.
Say that again.
I know where I would be on this if it were up to me.
Well,
If he had shingled roof and he wanted to go to 10, I would say no, because I think that could be material. If we have a bridge that's built out of construction materials X and we can lower the price by $1 million and make the construction materials something different, to me, that would be material. And so we have a bridge in the discussion that could be changed. It could drop the price a lot, $1 million, for example.
$1.5 million.
To me, that's material. In my, the
That's
way
a
I see
material
it,
change.
But are you, and I guess the question for me, and I'm just going to say this, I'll leave it up to you guys, because I am asking for this. If you guys are not comfortable with it, then we will not move forward with this. But when we're talking about a bridge, structurally, you're building the same bridge, you're going to have the same product at the end, it's just a different material. The best thing to do would be to get with the legislature and change that, because you can't design, build in Alabama. And if you could do that, we could probably save $2 million on this bridge.
and that may be true too. but
But I will defer, and I'll let you guys decide if you want to talk with Jay and get his opinion, which is different than mine, and I understand that. But, you know, I'll let you guys,
Well, we feel your pain, let me say that.
yeah, it's just,
Because we're all through it, but I know how restrictive it's been in the past and what we've always had to deal with in terms of material changes. And that's a pretty hard line in the sand there. But, you know, if there's specific questions about the project that you're working on that you think need more definition, if you want to change materials and you want to have clarification on whether that's legally appropriate, I think that's fine to move forward and
Yeah,
ask that.
as long as we can make this narrow, that's my
yeah,
thing.
and I think we've tried to narrow it down
We have.
as much as we can.
We'll draft it with these comments today and share it before it goes out.
And we can carry this over to another,
No, I'm okay. I'm
We
just,
want you to be able to move forward on your project.
I want to, and it's, I know we're specifically talking, but I really do get concerned. I mean, I see projects where I go out and, I mean, when we put out a bid for public notice, I personally call contractors in Mobile County and say, we got a bid, please come bid on my jobs. I don't know how you guys do that, but I make sure that every contractor, particularly local contractors, know that we have a bid out there that they can, a job that they can bid on and get the work. And so usually, fortunately, I haven't had the occasion where I had no, but I notice sometimes that you guys do. And I just want to make sure that we're doing everything we can do to get our projects out there, to make sure that we're having bidders show up, to make sure that you know, that you don't have just one bidder, and so that it's more competitive, and certainly trying to make sure that we can all move, because these projects are not, they're important to me as the commissioner, but they're more important to the people who live in these communities where we're doing these projects. And I want to make sure that whether it's in Mount Vernon or Dauphin Island or Sims, that we're able to provide these things for these communities. And that's why I was asking for this. So anyway, thank you.
well, it's also a national problem. It's not just us.
Absolutely, I know,
It's a
yeah.
national problem, too.
It's a huge issue with everything, with prices and,
Well, Jay, if you could maybe look at some revisions
We
to,
will. We haven't finished it, but we're close, and the comments from the three commissioners this morning are helpful as we work to tweak it just a tad to get where we need to
if
be.
you will narrow it down as much as possible and share it with the
We'll
other
share all
two
three of you before we send it out, for
commissioners,
sure.
will,
The only AG opinion we have outstanding right now is what I call the simple fact pattern. May a member of the School Board of Education who's elected also serve as a member of a local water board.
what's that now?
The only AG opinion we have outstanding before this commission that I have signed off on is, may a member of a public board of education here in Mobile be appointed and serve as a Mobile County Water Board member as well.
you appoint a school board member to another board,
Right, and so there's some
Another
question.
paying board.
the paying board, correct?
Yeah, I'm not so sure that's the sole criteria, but nonetheless, that's out there. That was a pretty easy question for them to answer. And so this is more factually intensive, and we'll make those tweaks and present it to y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Number 50, approve intergovernment agreement with Mobile County Commission and the City of Mobile for the city to provide $340,000 to the county for design and engineering services for the West Mobile County Park pending legal review.
What's this? What's this?
This is,
This is, I was still thinking about the last item, but I know where we're at here. So this is so you know, the annexation has taken place in West Mobile. This park, West Mobile County Park, it belongs to the county, and the city has agreed, because it's now in the city, that they would like to help fund some of the projects that I have going there. And so,
Okay, I
yeah,
got it.
so they're paying for the design of my splash pad and playground that I already have, and I hope the mayor's listening. I'm hoping
Nice. That's
I'm hoping he'll pay for the splash pad playground also.
So-
But yes,
Oh, you're
it's in their city now, and they would like to help improve the park. So it's very nice
very
of the city.
magnanimous.
So, anyway,
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ludgood.
I had to get money where I can these days.
The city attorney, Ricardo Wood, asked if we prepared this intergovernmental agreement, sent it to them for their review and approval by in the city council in the weeks to go. So that's where this comes from. I thought he was going to do it. He asked me to do it. So it was a late arrival to the agenda. But we've got those forms from Flo Kessler before she left, and it should be a pretty simple, send it to them, they approve, they'll give us the money, and it'll be used as Dana and team to reimburse those costs.
Yeah. What?
I'm impressed, that's all.
Number 51, authorize advertising a request for proposals for the professional planning services for Project Mobile County Civil Rights and Cultural Heritage District. 52, authorize advertising a request for qualifications for the professional engineering design services for Mobile County Civil Rights and Cultural Heritage District. 53 needs to be voted at the conference. Approve a letter of support for designating the University of South Alabama as a technology hub in advanced manufacturing to the Economic Development Administration Technology Hub Grant Selection Committee.
So moved.
Second?
And Commissioners, we have a add-on, and also Commissioners, we had a glitch in the network system that prevented some of the emails coming through to records. So we have 3 agenda items that were submitted on time but didn't make it through. We got them this morning, so I was going to read those also. Add-on, approved statement of work number 5 dated September 27, 2022 pertains to a contract with Alight Solutions LLC. This statement of work will provide Workday cloud-based software services up to 75 monthly support hours, 250 pool hours annually, 35 hours of strategic roadmap planning, 10 hours of domain expert support for 1 year, along with aligning resources for 240 hours within 3 months of human capital management and finance. And the 3, approved change order number 1 with J. Hunt Enterprises for project Chicxulub Park Entrance Day Use and Trail Improvement. This change order will increase the contract by $364,562.80 and will be paid from the Gomesa bond funds. The contract amount is $7,269,696.80. Second agenda item, authorize letter of intent to the U.S. Corps of Engineers to address stream restoration to Tolman's Spring Branch and Gumtree Branch. And the third one, award bid to Ben M. Radcliffe, contractor for project Bayfront improvements for their total bid in the amount of $5,574,417.50 and authorize commission president to execute contract documents. A portion of the cost will be paid from Gomesa bond funds and another portion reimbursed by the Natural Resources Damage Assessment Grant.
Did you say Bayfront Park?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
third one?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have 2 of these.
I don't have
I've
a
got
copy.
2 of exactly the same things.
These just came in right before.
I don't
we
have a
come up.
copy of the add-on for the additional work with J. Hunt Enterprises.
I don't see
If I can
that
get a
either.
copy of that.
Yes,
Only
we'll get
thing
you a
I've
copy.
got is number 1, approved work number 5 dated September 27th. That's the only thing I've got here.
Yes, we just found out about these agenda items right before the
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, so we shouldn't have them then.
Should have, them. That's why I was
They-
going to read
It's
them. We'll get them
paper.
to you,
They
though.
brought it up in paper. That's probably what you're gonna have.
I didn't see it on my computer.
I don't
that's
even
what
have paper.
I don't have paper either, so just, I'd like to get a copy of that.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
going to be a
That was
long
it.
agenda.
That was almost painful and long.
My
so-
goodness, have we ever had a conference meeting this long? Got somebody waiting upstairs.
I'm sorry.
all right.
Do you, Brian, can you just do yours tomorrow? I'm just kidding. Can I interrupt
Breeze
real?
through it here.
I think we had one more business owner who would like to be heard about his issues with his business. If there's no objection, I would ask that he be allowed to speak. All right, Cherie, call him up.
Mr. Ronnie,
Thank you, Brian.
if you'll come up and go to the mic, you'll have 5 minutes, and please state your name and address for the record.
How y'all doing today? Thank you for this opportunity. Just got a few notes today. My name is Ramadan Al-Turki. The address is 5600 Lot Road, 8 Mile, Alabama, 36613. We have some issues with the business. The first issue is going to be simple. It's just a overdrain. We've got the city or the state to fix it before, but we have the same issue again. The first time that we had the issue, we actually had to go back and forth between the state and the city to come by the business and fix the drain because it was affecting the parking lot of the business. That's the first thing. The second thing is about the taxes. So since Sims took over the area, some taxes were paid to Pritchard, and now Sims are they're one of these taxes that's already paid to Pritchard. As far as the accountant, she said that Pritchard is not going to refund this money to take it and pay it to Sims. So now Sims City is one of their taxes for, I cannot exactly remember how long, but I believe it's probably about a year or a couple of years. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Are we familiar with this drain issue? I think it's been mentioned twice. If, Ricky, if you don't mind, ask someone to speak with them about this drain issue and see if it's something the county can resolve for them. And the other issue,
So is the issue with Sims and Pritchard, which city ought to be getting the taxes? Are both Sims and Pritchard saying that you should be paying them, or just?
sounded like you paid the taxes to Pritchard, but you should have paid them to Sims, and is that what I understood?
The taxes were paid to Pritchard. We did not find out about City of Sims until later on. And so now Sims says that they need to have their money, and they already came out and sent some letters and stuff like this, but we did not know anything about it until later on after the taxes were paid already.
I don't really know that that's an issue that we can help you resolve with two municipalities disputing. If I understood you correctly, they're disputing on who you should have paid. So you paid them to Pritchard, now Sims is saying you should have paid it to them, and Pritchard's saying, we're not going to give you the money back to pay your taxes. Is that what I understood? So that, I mean, it's not really, an issue, that's an issue that
It's a legal issue that
Yes.
needs to be,
addressed with their municipality and not actually with the county commission. Now, if there's a drainage issue that's a county drainage issue, we'll certainly be more than happy to take a look at that and see if we can help resolve that issue.
And on the GI, can we look at the GIS and say, because our GIS tells us whether they're in Pritchard or Sims? I mean, I know Sims
We
is
can
like,
tell them what our
that would be
GIS
the place
says,
to
but
start.
we're not as far as I know, we're not the legal holder of that city limit. But we can tell them what they've given us.
okay, what Sims has told us
Yes.
about jurisdiction.
Right.
If I may, the issue is that when they did this annexation, when Sims took over all this land, Pritchard didn't know that Sims had annexed from Blunt High School all the way to Spice Pond. So this has happened 4 or 5 years, that no one knew that it had been annexed. So Sims was collected, the tax money was going to Pritchard. So then when we found out that it was Sims, we went to Sims, and they said, okay, they worked out something that they took off like, I think almost a year. But now we're talking about $30,000 that Sims want their money, and their businesses are being affected by it because the tax is not being paid. And Pritchard said they're not giving back a penny. So the businesses out there, they just in a quarry at this point, so they don't know what to do.
Sounds, yeah.
Jay,
legal
could you
dispute.
help point them in the right direction, who they might need to speak to get this situation resolved? I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be that difficult. They're either in one jurisdiction or the other now. And if it's a matter of of overpayment, or if it was paid in error, then I would think they had a right to claim it. But I'm not an attorney, so if you would, he is, but I'm not.
I'm not an attorney.
So,
Are you an attorney, ma'am?
so But I feel like one half the time. But anyway, if you would help direct them to who they might need to speak to help get this clarified, that'd be great.
Listen, we're not making light of your situation. We're just trying to get this meeting through. So we'll be glad to help you guys as much as we can.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not a lawyer, I just play one on TV.
Sure.
Commissioner Lookgood, I was able to come up with the figures that you were requesting on the Chickasaw contract. The estimated cost for monthly service would be $34,509.60, which if it does take the entire 4 months, that'd be $138,038.40 for the entire 4 months. And that's based on what an average deputy rate is. You know, depends on who works it. It may be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, and the contract does state that they'll pay the actual cost.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Glenn, you done? All right. Brian, you may proceed.
Very good.
Thank you.
Commissioners, we would ask Monday that you consider taking the following action. Item number 1, approve agreement between the Mobile County Commission, the Town of Mount Vernon, and the Planning Commission of the Town of Mount Vernon concerning the exercise of the subdivision regulations within the planning jurisdiction of that municipality. Item 2, award bid to Integrity Maintenance LLC for the removal of 5 portable buildings at the old Calcasieu School for their low bid in the amount of $41,000. Item 3, authorize advertising and receiving bids for McDavid Road, Great Drain Basin Pave, one of our 2018 pay-as-you-go projects. Item 4, adopt a resolution consenting to the annexation of portion of the following public street, Celeste Road, bounded by the territory annexed by the city of Saraland. Item 5, adopt a resolution consenting to the annexation of portions of the following public streets: Michigan Avenue, Pollard Road, Sims Court, and Schillingers Road North, bounded by the territories annexed by the city of Sims. Item 6, adopt a resolution consenting to the annexation of a portion of Shepherd Lake Road East, bounded by territories annexed by the town of Mount Vernon. And Commissioners, this actually was annexed back in 2012, and we found where the county commission at that time did not take action, so we're just cleaning that up with the town of Mount Vernon. Item 7, approve supplemental agreement number 1 with Frank Turner Construction for our Tanner Williams Road additional lanes project for the addition of a construction pay item needed for the protection of the roadway during the bridge construction. Item 8, approve supplemental agreement number 2 with John G. Walton for our Elm Street Great Drain Basin Pave and Water and Sewer Line Relocation Project for the addition of 2 pay items needed for the modifications to the proposed water line connection points. Item 9, approve final plat of Heritage Lake Phase 1A and accept the road rights-of-way as shown on the subdivision plat, and accept the roads in this subdivision for the maintenance by the county together with the drainage system as it affects the said roads.
Is that the subdivision at Airport and Eliza Jordan?
Port and Eliza Jordan, yes, sir.
East corner?
That's
So-
just Phase 1A.
Okay.
Okay, Phase 1B soon to come. Item 10, approve final plat of O'Fallon First Edition and accept the road rights-of-way as shown on the subdivision plat and accept the roads in this subdivision for maintenance by the Mobile County together with the drainage system as it affects the roads. And Commissioners, item 11 and items 12, they're kind of lengthy, but this is a result of the activities taken by the Engineering and Public Works Department to try and ease the transition with the acceptance of the new subdivision regs and also the annexation by the city of Mobile to get these items in to make it a little less painful for the citizens. Item 11, approve the preliminary and final plat of Walker Road Estates, which is in Commission District 3, and preliminary and final plat of part of Lot B of the re-subdivision of Heritage Alto subdivision, which is in Commission District 3. and preliminary and final plat of replat of lots 2 and 5, ALCE Pro subdivision, which is Commission District 3, and preliminary and final plat of Hillview Acres, Commission District 3, and preliminary and final plat of the re-subdivision of Lot 3, Foster Trail, it's also in Commission District 3, and preliminary and final plat of Riverview Point Place, Commission District 3, and preliminary and final plat of the re-sub of Lot 1, Elmore Estates, which is also in Commission District 3. Item 12, approve the preliminary plat only of Webster Crossing, which is in Commission District 3 there at McFarland Road and Dawes Road. Commissioners, item 13 is a consider item. Consider waiving section 4.21 of the subdivision regulations and approving preliminary and final plat of Lofton and Colson Riverview. The adjoining property owners are adjusting an interior lot line between two pre-existing parcels. And Commissioner, we do not have any objection to granting this waiver.
Has there been anyone from the public reached out to you, Matthew or Brian, with any objection to that, to the waivering of the regulations? Okay.
We've had one adjoining property owner reach out, but it was more for clarification.
Okay.
They wanted to discuss the restrictions and covenants that applied, and we don't have the authority to enforce those.
Thank you.
Item 14, approve reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Alabama Power for our McDonald Road Additional Lanes project. Item 15, approve reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Mobile County Water, Sewer, and Fire Protection Authority for the McDonald Road Additional Lanes project. Item 16, approve non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Spire Gulf Incorporated for the same project. Item 17, approve non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with MediaCom for that same 2016 pay-as-you-go project. Item 18, approve non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Unity Fiber for the McDonald Road Additional Lanes project. And 19, approve non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Alabama Power Company for that same additional lanes project on McDonald Road. Item 20, approve reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Alabama Power Company for one of our 2020 pay-as-you-go projects, Holly Point Drive East, Holly Point Drive South, Sheffield Road, Stacy Road, and Wilson Road. Item 21, approve a non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of utility facilities with Alabama Power Company for the same project. Item 22, approve right-of-way and/or easement agreement for Track 6 on Murray Road, which is one of our 2020 pay-as-you-go projects. And Commissioners, that currently is it.
Ricky, did you have some?
It looks like the people left, so I don't know if we'll ever get rid of them.
Okay.
I think they said 5600 Lot Road.
All right. Did you have anything? Did you have anything? All right. Thanks, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.